On June 11, 2011, a driver on the Wilbur Cross Parkway outside Milford, Connecticut, hit a 140-pound male mountain lion. Connecticut's position, for as long as anyone could remember, was that the state had no mountain lions, and that people reporting them were looking at big house cats or dogs. The lab work came back weeks later. The animal was born in the Black Hills of South Dakota and had walked roughly 1,500 miles east, leaving hair, scat, and trail camera photographs across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and New York. It was real the whole time. It just took a highway to prove it. So here are 9 animals that state and federal agencies list as gone, or as never having been here at all, and what people on the ground keep reporting anyway. They run from the ones where the official position has already moved to the ones where it never has. Stay to the end for the last 2, because those were written off completely, and they are walking around eastern North Carolina and South Florida right now. Number 9. Wolverines in the lower 48. On November 30th, 2023, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service listed the wolverine in the contiguous United States as threatened. The number they were working from was about 300 animals, nearly all of them in high country in Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and Washington. Colorado has been spoken of as wolverine country only in the past tense since the 1920s. And yet Colorado holds one of the strangest records in American wildlife. A collared male out of Wyoming, known in the files as M56, turned up in Rocky Mountain National Park in 2009 after a walk of roughly 500 miles. He was watched on the snow of Mount Bierstadt in 2012. Then he drifted north and was shot in North Dakota. One animal, one collar, and that is the entire modern Colorado record. Colorado has since put a wolverine restoration plan on paper and passed a law to bring the species back on purpose. 40 years of outfitters reporting tracks in the San Juans, and the file that finally moved the state had one wolverine in it. Colorado came around on the wolverine eventually. On the next animal, the proof arrived with a man flat on his back. Number 8. Grizzlies in Colorado and the Bitterroot. Colorado declared the grizzly gone in 1953. On September 23, 1979, an outfitter named Ed Wiseman was guiding elk hunters in the South San Juan wilderness when a grizzly sow put him on the ground. He killed her with a handheld arrow while she was on top of him. That was a bear that did not exist, 26 years after the state said the last one was dead. Since 1979, there has been no confirmed grizzly in Colorado. Reports still come out of Conejos and Archuleta counties every few seasons, and not one has produced hair, scat, or a photograph that survives review. Farther north, the story ran the other way. In June of 2019, a collared male grizzly was confirmed in the Selway Bitterroot wilderness in Idaho, in country where the recovery plan assumed bears would have to be trucked in. He walked there himself. In April of 2020, tracks were confirmed south of Grangeville. The bears did not read the plan. Number 7. Gray wolves in the Northeast. The wolves did not read it either. Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and New York all hold the same line, which is that there is no breeding wolf population anywhere in the northeastern United States. In September of 1993, a wolf was shot near Moosehead Lake in Maine and confirmed by DNA. In November of 1998, another was shot in Glover, Vermont. In December of 2021, a hunter in Cherry Valley, New York, took what he believed was an oversized coyote. It weighed 85 pounds. Testing at the New York State Museum and at Princeton put it at 99.9%. Great Lakes gray wolf, an animal that had likely covered 500 to 750 miles to get there. The Maine Wolf Coalition counts at least 11 wolves killed south of the St. Lawrence since 1993. Every one of those was a lone traveler, and not one of them proves a pack. That is the honest version. But lone travelers are how populations start. A dead wolf can at least be weighed and tested. The next animal on this list is alive, on camera, and still an open question. Number 6. Jaguars along the Arizona line. The jaguar is federally endangered here, and the working assumption is that the United States has no resident jaguars, only visitors up from Sonora. Those visitors are well documented. El Jefe held the Whetstone and Santa Rita Mountains from 2011 to 2015, then turned up on a camera in 2022, about 120 miles south in Mexico, alive and grown. Sombra has been photographed in the Chiricahuas repeatedly since 2016. In the spring of 2023, Customs and Border Protection cameras in the Huachucas caught a jaguar that Fish and Wildlife could not name, because the images were too blurry to read the rosettes against the reference photos. Arizona Game and Fish later confirmed a new animal in the state. Now the hard part. Every jaguar verified in this country in the last 30 years has been male. Males wander. None of this becomes a population until a female crosses, and no female has been verified on this side of the border in the modern record. What we have so far is a commute. That is how it goes with the big cats, and it holds for most of this list. One animal on here skipped the whole dispute and simply moved in. Number 5. Alligators, north of the mapped range. Open a field guide from 20 years ago, and the alligator range stops well south of the Tennessee line. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency has been confirming alligators in West Tennessee since 2018, in Shelby, Fayette, and Hardin counties, with further records in Tipton and Lauderdale. Agency staff videotaped a 7-foot animal at the Wolf River Wildlife Management Area in Fayette County. And Tennessee never stocked alligators. Nobody dumped a pet. They came up out of Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas under their own power, following mild winters north into bottomland that now suits them fine. Nobody ever really denied this one. The reports just sat in a drawer until the animals got big enough to count. If you run cattle or timber in Fayette County, you knew before the map did. So that is 5 entries where the paperwork eventually caught up. Now the one where it never has. Number 4. Black panthers of Appalachia and East Texas. Every agency from Virginia to Texas says the same thing, and they are not being cute about it. There has never been a documented melanistic cougar anywhere in North or South America. No specimen, no hide, no roadkill, and no photograph clear enough to settle it. Melanism is well established in jaguars and in leopards. In pumas, it has not been recorded once, and the reports do not stop. They come out of Cherokee County, North Carolina. They come off the ridges in southwest Virginia and southern West Virginia, and out of the pine country in deep East Texas, and they come from people who spend their working lives outdoors and can tell you a bobcat from a house cat at 200 yards, long tail, low body, black, crossing a logging road at dusk. The official answer is misidentification at distance and in poor light. Some of that is certainly right. It does not account for all of it, and the fair way to leave it is that there is no physical evidence, and there are a great many careful people describing the same animal. That is where the evidence runs out. The next one is where the evidence exists and nobody can agree on what it shows. Number 3. The ivory-billed woodpecker. The last record nobody disputes comes from 1944, in the Singer Tract in Madison Parish, Louisiana, where an artist named Don Eckelberry sat and sketched the last known female while the loggers cut the forest down around her. In 2004 and 2005, a team working the Cache River bottoms in Arkansas published video and audio in Science and said the bird was still out there. The fight over those few seconds of footage never ended. In September of 2021, the Fish and Wildlife Service formally proposed declaring the ivory bill extinct. Then in July of 2024, the service withdrew that proposal, citing acoustic and visual evidence out of southern Louisiana that it described as not conclusive but sufficient to warrant continued investigation. So the federal government tried to close the file and could not. The bird is still listed as endangered, and still nobody has a photograph you would hang on a wall. 2 entries left and then the 2 that came back. Number 2. Cougars in Tennessee and the Midwest. For most of a century, the answer in Tennessee was no. Then on September 20th, 2015, a trail camera in Obion County produced a picture the state could not argue with. 6 days later, in Carroll County, a hair sample gave up DNA from a female cougar carrying Black Hills genetics. From November of 2015 through August of 2016, Humphreys County produced 6 more confirmations. Wayne County followed in September of 2016. Missouri has run a large carnivore response team since 1996 and has confirmed 128 mountain lions since 1994 out of thousands of reports. Fewer than 1% of the reports yield evidence that holds up. Both of those facts are true at the same time, and neither one cancels the other. The cats are genuinely there, and most sightings are still not cats. Almost every confirmed animal is a young male doing what young males do, which is walk until something stops him. Which brings this back to where it started. Number 1. The eastern cougar. On January 23, 2018, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service announced it was removing the eastern cougar from the endangered species list on the grounds that it had been extinct for decades. The last records the service accepted were Maine in 1938 and New Brunswick in 1932. The removal took effect that February. Read the reasoning and it holds up. Read the timing, and it is strange. 7 years before that notice, a cougar had died on a parkway in Connecticut, with 1,500 miles of documented travel behind it. The service's claim was that the eastern subspecies was finished, which is a narrower thing than saying no cougar will ever stand in Vermont again. A subspecies can be gone for good while the animal itself walks back in from the west, one young male at a time, on its own schedule, without filing anything. And that is the part worth staying for, because 2 of these stories are already finished, and they finished well. The red wolf was declared extinct in the wild in 1980. 14 animals were pulled into captivity, and in 1987, 4 pairs were released onto the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge in Dare County, North Carolina. The wild population climbed to about 130 by 2006, then fell back to single digits and nearly went out a second time. In April of 2025, a litter of 8 pups was born in the wild on that refuge. Roughly 30 red wolves are living wild in eastern North Carolina right now, and that is the only wild red wolf population on Earth. The Florida panther was down under 30 animals in the early 90s, inbred to the point where kittens were born with heart defects and kinked tails. In 1995, biologists released 8 female cougars from Texas into South Florida. The current estimate runs between 120 and 230 adults and subadults, and panthers have crossed the Caloosahatchee River and started denning north of it, in country the species had not used in living memory. Neither of those animals was supposed to still be here. Both of them are. The range maps are drawn by people, and the animals never agreed to them. Agencies work from physical evidence, which is the right way to work, but physical evidence always arrives late. It arrives on a parkway in Milford, or on a hair snag in Carroll County, or in front of a border camera in the Huachucas, years after somebody standing in a field already knew. So when you see something on your own ground that the map calls impossible, you are not confused. You may just be early. So tell me what you have seen. Put it in the comments with the county and the year, and if you had a camera on it, say so. Those reports are the part of this that actually accumulates. If you want more of these, where we go pull the actual records and read what the agencies really said, hit subscribe. There is a lot more of this than 9.